room is large and tidy and bright. There are 2 low children's bookshelves in one corner, a bin brimming with Barbies and toy trucks, a blue patterned rug, a round white table with a pitcher of water and tiny paper cups on a plastic lunch tray, and bunk beds, 12 of them, all lined up against the walls. In all, we are nearly 30 single mothers and children hailing from different parts of Los Angeles. We have one undeniable thing in common. We're homeless. It's the second time I've been homeless in 8 years. And this isn't the story I thought I'd tell when putting together a talk about success and no limits, but it's the truth. And as undesirable as my circumstances might appear from the outside looking in, I'm not angry, not even embarrassed. Instead, I'm grateful. Because at 32, I know now that there's a breakthrough on the horizon if only I can keep my gaze there. But it's a slippery slope. I live with bipolar 1, obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, and chronic pain. Success for me has taken many shapes over the years. Sometimes it's flashy and festive, like giving a keynote or winning an award. Other times it's meager. Getting dressed, locking the door 2 times instead of 20, ignoring the pain in my body. I plot my steps and talk myself through HJ, plotting my steps like points on a map. I'm bad with maps. I confess I don't have a 5-year plan. Hell, I don't even have a 6-month plan, which doesn't mean I don't have goals. It's just that I've learned that the best way to manage my illness and my life is literally one day at a time. One day at a time at the local family shelter where my son and I currently reside is a full schedule. There's no room for me to feel sorry for myself or to sink into depression. I'm up at 5, eating breakfast with my son by 6:30 and out the door by 7:15 to take him to school. I hustle all day, working multiple jobs, as many hours as I can. The shelter reopens again at 6 for dinner. Then there are chores, tutoring for the kids, classes or counseling for the parents. Bath and bedtime follow, and lights are out at 9. The room goes dark, but not quiet. Many of the children are my son's age, 6, 7, 8. Some whimper and whine, others cry out loudly. A few do fall asleep right away. I shut my eyes tight, a futile attempt to fall asleep that first night. My body aches with so much tension, bearing the weight of weeks spent moving boxes and packing and moving things into storage and furniture into friends' garages. There are no tears left to cry. But truthfully, I'm more relieved than anything else, because this is our new normal. My eyes flutter open as suddenly the bunk bed shifts, and I hear tiny feet coming down the ladder. My 7-year-old son, he rests his chin, his head on my shoulder, his chin on my shoulder, and whispers, "I love you, Mom," as he wraps his arms and legs around my tired body. I'm transported, and for just a moment, we're in our own home again. It's just the 2 of us and our black and white cat, and it's quiet. I close my eyes again and slip into a very light sleep, waking every hour until dawn, and it was like that for about 2 weeks. Rather than surrender to complete overwhelm and exhaustion, I embrace every aspect of my situation, the good, the bad, and the very ugly. Even though there's not enough money in my bank account to pay the bills, keep my account in the black, even though my credit is tanked, even though I have no idea when or how I'm ever going to get it out of this hole, I have hope. And that's because when we're at our lowest, It's the most primal instinct within us that sparks the will to survive. And I believe that survival breeds its success and promotes ingenuity. And I believe in that for myself. Today, everything counts, and I don't measure success in terms of how many notches I can add to my resume, but instead of the small wins that are actually a really big deal. I looked in the mirror and smiled at the woman looking back. I made my son laugh. I comforted a friend. I let a friend comfort me. I remember when I was just 19 and I started my first business. It was a tutoring business for kids ranging from kindergarten to 8th grade. And at first it was just me. I was a one-woman show, and I thought I alone was going to change the world with my business. I wanted so badly to make my mark in the world. After all, I was the kid that brought home all A's, every imaginable award, and got into USC. I had moved out by 17 and was already supporting myself and working my way through college. And as my little business grew, I brought on 3 friends who worked as tutors while I juggled 2 other jobs, a full course load, and an insane bus schedule. Literally, we're talking Santa Monica to Whittier on the bus. And I saw that my little business was growing. And within about a year's time, I was actually turning a profit and feeling really on top of the world. I thought, man, I'm going to offer all these great things and change these kids' lives, and with a scholarship fund, and I'm going to expand to new schools, maybe even open up my own tutoring center one day. But I thought and wanted to do that all on my own. And what I realized, which eventually led to me shutting down this business that I thought I would have for life, is that no one who is successful ever does it alone. People need people. We need each other and our resources and support and ideas and connections to grow our businesses. And when we refuse to ask for help, or as in my case, worse, refuse to accept help when help is given, we really limit ourselves. It's not until we reach out and bring on brilliant women into the fold and embrace their ideas can we actually grow our businesses. It's not until we receive and accept support that we break the glass ceiling, and that there are no limits at that point to what we can achieve. I also closed that business for the promise of a corporate paycheck and benefits and training and all of that good stuff, and drove myself into the ground. My expectations for myself were wildly unrealistic. I had tunnel vision when it came to my career path, and I really didn't know what I was doing. I really wanted to do things all on my own, of course. I spent nights at that center, literally perfecting every business detail and report, commuting each way 2 hours via public transit. I was a wreck. Fast forward, by the time I was 24, I became pregnant and homeless. And that was after enduring 2 hospitalizations related to mental illness, a string of abusive relationships, and poor money management decisions that ultimately led to me losing everything. But what I didn't lose was that spark, the will to survive, and I did. I survived what was then the hardest time in my life. And then I approached 30, and I realized I had a lot of work to do on myself and in my professional life if I wanted to be successful in business. And so I stopped being angry, and I eliminated negativity from my life, including toxic relationships. I became genuinely happy and found peace and acceptance that I'd been searching for my whole life. That happiness, it radiated across every area in my life. Even today, I'm so happy. I'm so grateful. I became fearless in the pursuit of my passions. I started saying yes. Yes to opportunity, yes to help, yes to healthy relationships, and most importantly, yes to myself. And I started having success. Because you see, success is when we see possibility at times when everything else feels like it's falling apart. Unbelievably, I can even stand here and say, I am grateful to be homeless. And I really am, because it's being in this situation that's forced me to fight for my life, fight for my son, and fight for the new business that I'm working on now, a social media marketing firm. It's getting out of this situation that's going to propel me and make the rewards so much more meaningful. On my most successful days, I get up, show up, put one foot in front of the other, and find as many reasons as I can to be grateful, and there are many. When I can do that each day, it gets a little bit easier, and I move another step in the right direction. I believe your biggest breakthrough is born at rock bottom. Despite where I am today, this is the catalyst for my growth, and I see it already happening. I don't believe you can ever be prepared for the moments that change your life. I know I've never been. But I've learned to savor each one, because from one moment to the next, our lives have the potential to take very unexpected turns. Every moment is so precious. And I think, homeless or not, that's what we're all striving for, to drink in those moments that make up our lives. If we can do that with gratitude and let everything else melt away, I would call that a success. I would call that a breakthrough.